Hey everyone, let's talk about the market. There's a lot of stuff about to go down here, and it's going to be a pivotal point for the next few months of crypto and the regular stock market as well. So, you guys can see right now, Bitcoin has officially broken out. It confirmed that this Sunday, and we are in a decent spot right now. Of course, our next level of resistance happens to be around this $25,000 spot, along with, you can say, the 200 weekly moving average and the 50 weekly moving average. Usually, when we have these death crosses, like when we had the green below the blue, the 20 below the 50, we tend to have bad things happen in the market. However, we've never actually had the 50-week moving average cross down below the 200. So we're not entirely sure what's going to happen when this occurs, but historically speaking, it should be a bad sign. However, the Nasdaq and the SPY are close to breaking out as well, so let's talk about that, okay? Now, as far as the Dow Jones is, this thing broke out a while ago, so we don't have to worry about it as much. If you want to think about a breakout, you can see it's pretty far away from that trend line way up here, but it already broke out months ago, okay? Going over here to the SPY, we're at a level of resistance, and this goes back down to the trend line that really started off here, let's just say about March of 2022. It's been a downward trend for quite a bit of time, okay? However, we have an opportunity to break out above the 50 and this trend line. But until we break out, both of these are heavy levels of resistance. If I were, for example, to take off the 20 and the 50 to the 200 and just leave the 50 here, let me make sure this is set to weekly right here. There you go. And I just go to maybe the 1 hour chart, you'll see that we just got rejected off of this and now we're starting to come down a little bit more. That's going to be the level for us to break out above. And you can say the same thing about the NASDAQ here. The NASDAQ has just had a short-term breakout here. Let me turn these things back on for us. And you can see we had a smaller trend line from there to there. We broke out. It wasn't a big level of resistance, okay? But it's something that you guys were supposed to be aware of, especially if you guys are doing day trading and the like. We can take that off now, and we're getting closer again to this trend line right there. This still bodes ill for the market overall, just because the 50 will eventually cross down below the 200 as well. And we do have a history with that when it comes to the NASDAQ, 2008 financial crisis, and of course over here with the dot-com bubble. Both are different scenarios though. Financial crisis, this is more of just a market being overbought. I think that's where we are now. The concern though is after this happened, we dove down for a little bit, then we had a massive rally, then we continued to go back down. While the financial crisis, the worst of it was pretty much over by the time the cross even happened. So I would say we're probably still over here because layoffs are continuing to get worse at this point. We're just hoping that the surplus of jobs can hold up as well, okay? This is the main point though. We're heading for these levels of resistance. Over the next few days, you're going to see a lot of earnings, a lot of FANG earnings, which are going to be big movers for the NASDAQ and the SPY. As these earnings come in, if we have good news, we will break out going into February 1st and 2nd when we have the Fed meeting where we have the interest rate hikes. That's going to be the big move here where we can see some things possibly turn around and potentially see us get back up here to 12,145 as far as the NASDAQ is concerned. That may be a little bit higher up here to these two shoulders that we saw a while ago, okay? The concern for me, excuse me, why I'm a little bit scared is for the first time in a while, the dollar index has actually found a level of support and we're holding on. Usually when this bad boy's been going down, we've been more than happy to see the market continue to rally or at least go sideways. If we start to have a bounce here for whatever reason, that's not going to be a good sign for assets anywhere because it's going to be showing the strengthening of the dollar. And a lot of the nasty stuff we saw over the past couple years was interest rates going up, 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 and us going sky high here to a high of about $114. If we don't continue the drop down here over the next couple weeks, it doesn't have to happen this week. If we don't, we're probably going to have a little bit of a bounce, and that's going to be a little bit of a scare point for the markets. And with how much we know how volatile the Dow, the NASDAQ, and the SPY have been, it's not going to be inconceivable for us to have some type of downward movement like this for about a month, okay? Not something like this, not something like this, but something more like this, unless the Fed rate hike is like more than 50 basis points, which I think at this point it's not going to be. So keep an eye on everything, everybody. Bitcoin's already broken out. Ethereum has not broken out yet. It's had these smaller breakouts here. You don't have to use that one right there. But we have had these smaller breakouts. We have had the false breakouts in the past, so keep that in mind. But we've had one breakout. Ethereum, on the other hand, has not broken out of this longer-term downtrend like Bitcoin has. So just so you guys know, be patient. There are a lot of resistance levels out there, and if you guys are going off of some simple technical analysis, I would just say use the Fibonacci extension levels. They're usually pretty good, and you can see right now we're definitely facing some resistance. We can break out above it, but don't be afraid to scale out, and that's exactly what I continue to do. I'm just scaling out of these positions as we've hit some really nice levels of highs. We're eventually going to have to take a break back down, but until then, I'm going to watch and see how this plays out. Thanks, everybody, and I'll see you guys later tonight.